Hi everyone, it's Dr. Hinkey again. I hope you've all looked at the video walkthrough of our classroom. Kind of gets you oriented, not just to D2L, but specifically how to proceed through our assignments, proceed through each week's work, and where to find all the information and resources you'll need. This video will focus specifically on the syllabus. So let me share that screen with you. All right, so this is our home page, and from here you'll access all the information in our classroom. And right now we're just going to look at the syllabus. So you can also link to the syllabus through the content, and then it's one of the modules over on the left, as we went through in that previous video. So this is the syllabus for Biology 103, and it's specific for our class. This is our section. You might be watching this video but enrolled in a different section, but the setup is the same for all my classrooms. Over here, there are quick links to specific topics. So if you really just want to know the class schedule and assignments, you can just click there and it'll take you right down to it. But we'll go through sort of from the top where we're at. It starts with my contact information, just my typical UMGC email. Within D2L, you also have other ways to contact me. So through these chat and email buttons up here, or through my phone number that's posted, my cell phone number that's posted in another portion of the classroom. We have a brief course description, which if you don't know what you signed up for, you'll want to read that. An introduction, this is an overview of the course, a little more detailed than that description. And our course outcomes. All of these are also located under links in the course content. This has a link to our course material, which we are using the Rice University OpenStax textbook for an introductory biology class. It's a great textbook. And it's free online, so it's easy to access. We'll say if any of you are more comfortable and would rather have a hard copy, you can just Google OpenStax and go to the OpenStax website, and there's information and a link to where to purchase print copies of the book. They're usually, the OpenStax books can be purchased at Amazon for $25 to $30. You want to go through the OpenStax link to get it, because then you'll get the full color, actual everything that you see in the online textbook will be available in that Amazon link. So you can order a print textbook if you're more comfortable with using a hard copy, a print copy of your textbook. So that's available. If you go right into Amazon and type in OpenStax Biology, there are different biology texts, so you want to make sure you get ours. The one that we're using, which is given to you here. And also, people have just photocopied the pages of the textbook, so it's black and white and it's a PDF file, so it doesn't have quite the quality of the real textbook and usually costs more. So take a look. Don't just go to Amazon and look for that, but go to the link that's given at the openstax.com website. So we have some general information on class guidelines, classroom navigation, which I posted that previous video to help you with that, and there are also UMGC resources to help you navigate D2L if this is your first online class on this platform. Talks about contacting us. You do have to purchase the software for our virtual labs. The information to do that is given to you here. So follow that. Here is your code that you'll have to put in to access the material. And then once you get that, we'll keep going back to that for every one of our labs each week. So there's the information on that tabletop virtual lab software. Our first lab is due on Sunday. Each week our labs are, our week ends on Tuesday, but your labs are due at midnight on Sundays. So you want to work on those on the weekend after you've had a chance to go through the content that's related to that lab. And then you'll link to that website to access and complete the lab and then submit your lab report online. I went into a little bit of Turnitin as I went through our lab walkthrough. So we do use Turnitin, so your papers are run through that looking for instances of finding similar work or identical work online without, not just quotes that are given a citation or a source. So Turnitin will flag those. I'll just take a minute to talk about that. I know most people probably don't mean to plagiarize, but it is something of a problem when you have sites like Course Hero and other websites that will sell you completed work and assignments or access to assignments that are posted online. Students sell their completed work, and then you in turn can pay for that work. And sadly, many students do resort to that. I will say a lot of the students that are selling their work to these online sites are not your top students. It's not a guarantee you're going to get a good grade. And the other thing is that we have quite the library of those files that have been found by faculty members and submitted, and so they get a flag right away. And if we see lots of students with the exact same answer, and lo and behold, that turns up on one of those websites, you will receive a 0. So do make sure you're not using those, that you are doing your own work, right? The lab material is copyrighted, so it is a violation. The university does pursue this, and you can be fined for those copyright violations. If you ever think about selling University of Maryland materials, work, labs, the information to one of those sites to share with other students. So just be aware of that. And here's the policy if it's discovered that you are using or selling information to those sites. So just be aware of that. I hope that that doesn't apply to anybody in this class. There are also some links to some helpful resources, the scientific method tutorial, science study tutorial. Those are linked in the course resources. Tells about a number of different resources that are available to help you with college writing assignments. So we have a citing and writing page. Here's just a bulletproof summary of essentials. The Effective Writing Center is available for you to use, the library. So lots of resources to help you out with writing, and then some other additional academic support that's available. Here's a part that's really important for everyone to take a look at and read. Student participation expectations, your time commitment. This section A here breaks down what you can expect for a class. So typically in a 15-week semester, a student is considered a full-time student if they have 12 credit hours or more. We have an accelerated term, 8 weeks, so about half of a regular semester. So a full-time load would be, 6 to 8 credit hours. The term full term means it should be the equivalent of a full-time job for you to successfully complete all of your work and master the learning required. So not just go through, check everything off the list, but learn the material. So for 6 to 8 credit hours in an 8-week term is full-time, meaning it should take you about 40 hours to complete all the work. We have a 4 credit hour course, so about half of a full-time job. You can expect on average 20 hours per week to successfully complete the work and master the materials. This just walks you through that breakdown in a little more detail. There are also some study and work habits that can help you to succeed. So some practices that we find you'll be more likely to succeed in an online class following some of these guidelines and best practices. Grading is broken down. There is a syllabus quiz um, worth about 1%, worth 1% of your grade. Your discussion participation is worth 3% in each week's discussion over 8 weeks. So that is 24%, about a quarter of your grade. And you will want to read that document on how to earn participation points because this is a critical component of your grade and, more importantly, a critical component of your learning. Your lab assignments are worth 3% each, and there are 8 of those. So again, 24% of your grade. Quizzes, 3% each. There are 7 quizzes in all weeks, except week 8 you have your final exam, so no quiz. So that's 21%. You do have a writing assignment. It's worth 10% of your grade. And then that final exam is worth 20% of your grade. So that can kind of help you see how you want to allocate your time. Our discussion is really important. Late policy. You can, if you are going to be late, if you know you have something coming up, you aren't going to be able to, you're deployed, something is happening in your life, emergency comes up, and you know you aren't going to get the week's work done, please contact me as soon as you know there will be a problem and we can arrange for an extension. If you do not contact me prior to the due date or the deadline for the assignment you are going to be late on, there is no extension, but you can still submit most work, but at a point deduction of 10% per day. That per day starts as soon as you miss the deadline. So if it's due at midnight and you turn it in at 1 a.m., that's the next day. That's a 10% deduction. All right, so for the writing assignment, for labs and quizzes, that's a 10% per day deduction from your grade. So the quizzes, you'll see your grade posted until I go in and see it flagged as being late, and then I will deduct that 10% penalty. So if you're going to be late, contact me. All right, give you lots of ways to contact me so that you don't lose those points. But if you don't, if you just forget, slips your mind, and you go ahead and do turn it in late, a 10% deduction is better than a 0. So get it in as soon as possible. Late participation in discussion topics will result in a penalty of 50% if submitted within 5 days of the deadline. So you have almost a full week. If you've fallen behind, you don't get to the discussion each week, I highly recommend you get into that discussion forum and start early in the week so that you've answered the questions by the weekend, and that gives you Monday and Tuesday to really converse, to really delve deeper into it with your classmates. But if you do get behind, you will receive 50% penalty within the first 5 days. So get it in because 50% is better than 0%. So do come back and get that in. After that, it's too late. It won't be a discussion anymore. Your classmates have moved on. We were on to a different discussion. So you will not be awarded any points after that. I will not accept any late final exams or Lab 8. That's our final week of class. I do need to get grades in, so I have to have the materials graded. If you will not make the deadline for that, say an emergency comes up, you are in the hospital or a loved one is in the hospital, there's a death in the family, something that's going to prohibit you from completing this work, you'll need to contact me to make arrangements to receive an incomplete in the grade, or a grade of incomplete in the class. If you don't contact me, I can't give you that and you'll get a 0 for the assignment. So do make sure, if anything, hopefully we'll have no emergencies, but if anything does come up, you do need to make arrangements and request that incomplete. There is no extra credit in the class, no makeup work. So if you miss the assignment, can't come back after you see your final grade and say, hey, can I go back and make that up? Nope. Everyone should review the academic integrity tutorial, be familiar with that, and then sign and submit your academic integrity pledge. You will not be able to complete Lab 1 to submit your Lab 1 to the assignments folder for grading until you have done that. And then this is just a brief discussion talking about all the rest of the assignments, 7 weekly quizzes, the final exam. You have a 2.5-hour window to complete the final exam once you begin it, so make sure you have that chunk of time. Discussion participation, again, there's that document in the course content about how to earn discussion points. And then there's some more detail here listed generally about how to do that. So this just reflects the same thing that's in that document. The rubric is located in that document for grading. There are some project descriptions. Each of your lab assignments is described here. In some instances, the lab subject is the same as one of the topics for the week. Sometimes it'll be off a week. For example, when we look at metabolism, there'll be some discussion of enzymes in that, but enzymes we'll have discussed earlier in the course. It won't be in week 4. We'll have already covered that. So you will want to go back and review the lecture content on that. But each of the labs does reflect some portion of our lecture content. This is why labs are only worth 1 credit. It's not that they take less time. If we were meeting face-to-face, you'd be in labs for 6 hours every week, and you'd be in lecture 6 hours every week for in-classroom time, not counting the additional time you'd spend out of the classroom. So same time commitment for lecture and lab, but our lab is just an application of the concepts you've already learned. So really the outside of the classroom time that you spend learning about the concept or the topic that's covered in lab, or the lecture time that you spend learning about that, covers all the background that you need. The lab is applying it and seeing it. So you don't have to learn the concept for lab if you've already learned it in lecture. That's why you only get 1 credit for it. We've got an overview here of labs. This is some good reading to help you approach for your methodology, for your approach to completing the labs. You'll need to take screenshots. There's an activity form you'll fill out. And this just gives you a brief rundown of what you'll do in each lab. So take a look at that. This is the grading rubric that I use when evaluating your submissions. In week 6, we have a writing assignment looking at biology and biotech in the real world. These are the outcomes that this assignment addresses. So by researching and writing the report on these assignments, these are the outcomes, the learning outcomes from class that you should, that the assignment helps you to achieve. These are not what the assignment is about. Right, so the assignment has a specific topic. So the topics are listed below. And these are the directions. These are repeated in the classroom. But you'll pick methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, ocean acidification, the Human Microbiome Project, clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, or CRISPR, and vaccines, and specifically mRNA vaccines like we're using for COVID. So there's some background in each of these and a little bit more information on the topic in general, what questions you should address in your paper. So this will help you to structure your paper. So you'll want to read these and pick that carefully. You'll probably start working on that sooner. There's a reminder in week 5 that you should have chosen a topic and begun researching it in week 5 so that you can complete and submit the paper in week 6. And then again, more information on the final exam here. So the format of the final exam, there are 71 multiple choice or multiple select questions. Those are worth 76 points. And then there are 5 short written answer questions. Of those 5, you only have to answer 3. They're worth 8 points each. So answer 3, look through those questions, figure out what 3 you are best able to answer, and answer those. If you answer all 5, you don't get any extra credit. I just grade the first 3 Don't care which ones give you the most points. So don't answer them all and think, yeah, she'll pick out the ones that give me the best. You pick out which ones will give you um, the best grade, the ones that you feel most confident answering. All right, we have academic policies. This section is really important if you're not sure about something. That academic integrity. What are things that I really need to refrain from doing? What constitutes plagiarism? That's really iffy. Like, what if it's something that I just heard somebody else say? Right? I will tell you in our discussion, your answers should be based on the textbook, but I will assume that your answers are coming from the textbook. If you want to be specific, you can cite what page or what section you are getting your information from. You should be paraphrasing, not cutting and pasting. So if you paraphrase the information in the book, you summarize it, you answer in your own words, you do not have to cite our textbook in the discussion. In your written report, if you use information from the textbook, you do have to cite it. And for some of the discussion questions where it's a research question and you are going out onto the internet or to the UMGC library to get information, you will also need to cite your sources. That academic integrity tells you a little bit about that and what the consequences are for violations. Classroom civility. Remember, we are going to respect one another's opinions and answers. If you all knew all the right answers all the time, right from the get-go, you wouldn't be a student. I don't know all the answers all the time right from the get-go. I have to look them up. Sometimes I get them wrong. Sometimes you or your classmates will get them wrong. We learn from mistakes. So we do want to correct each other in the discussion. That's what it's there for, to help all of us learn. Do it nicely. There's a way to do that graciously. So, and also if someone points out an error in your answer, thank them for doing that. They're helping you out. This is a science class. Scientists learn from one another through the peer review process, which is your peers, your classmates, your colleagues looking over your work and looking for mistakes so that you can correct it before you send it out to the broader public, or in this case, to me for grading. So when your classmates point out an error, that helps you to get the right answer before I grade it at the end of the week. Your final answer is the one that's graded, not how you get there. So keep improving those answers. And if you feel awkward about correcting a classmate, if you feel, well, I'm not the teacher, it's not my place. But if you see something that could be improved or that you have different information and you point it out, I know sometimes at first that can feel very weird, but you're helping them, right? So just remember, you're not criticizing them, you are helping them to get better information so that they can earn a better grade. Right? We just do that with some civility, but yeah, don't feel like you're being insulted if somebody points out something that needs to be improved on your answers. There's some policies and guidelines. These are links to the UMGC page that tells you about the academic integrity policy, this code of student conduct, degree requirements, that grade of incomplete. If you cannot complete some of the classroom work by the end of the semester, this tells you what the criteria are for requesting an incomplete, how to go about that. So if you need to do that, take a look at that. The course withdrawal policy, there's a link to this. If you find that you can't keep up, sometimes life does interfere. We think that we're going to be able to handle the workload of work, family, school, everything all at once, and then find out, oops, maybe not this term. There is no shame in that. Sometimes the wiser course of action is recognizing that I'm not going to do my best. I'm not going to be able to get the grade that I'm capable of this term. If you do think you may need to withdraw, take a look at that policy. If you feel a grade has been given to you arbitrarily or capriciously, meaning that I just randomly threw a grade out there, that there is no justification that your work has earned a different or better grade, this is the appeal process. Intellectual property. So that's using UMGC materials and work. That's all copyrighted. So we want to make sure we don't share that. How your grade point is calculated. Acceptable use. So those are all policies that you can take a look at if you are interested. This is the University of Maryland grading policy, and these are the grade cutoffs and grade points. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to an 89. We round up, so if you have an 89.6, 89.5 or higher, we'll give you a 90. If you have an 89.4, you've already got a lot of budget, a lot of room in here, a lot of flexibility. That's going to be a B. So the gradebook calculates this automatically. We do not have leeway to change your grade. You earn the points you earn. So if you need to earn a grade, I do not give you grades. I don't give out grades. You earn grades. So keep that in mind with your work. If you need a specific grade for some reason, or want to earn a specific grade, these are the point values that you will have to earn, because I don't give any of you your grade, you earn your grade. So that's how those are calculated. This explains the grade rounding. There's no extra credit. Pointed out that course evaluation in your content. There's a link for the help desk if you need help. And then here's our class and assignment schedule. So again, your assignments are listed in the announcements each week. They are listed in that file. The top module in the week's work includes the learning objectives for the week and a list of the assignments. And those assignments are also listed here with due dates, each of the week's work to be done in both lecture and lab, week by week. So lots of places to find the assignments that you can use as a checklist to make sure that you never miss anything or don't know something's due. That's listed all over the place. All right. So you do want to read, I know the survey, or yes, or the syllabus is long, it's lengthy. That's because this is a good reference tool for you. If you're not sure of something, this is loaded with information, not just our schedule, but all of this other information about academic policies as a one-stop shop for you about the week's assignments. You don't have to go and dig through all the content to see what next week's lab is going to be. Those labs are listed here, or what the topics for the writing assignment are. You don't have to hunt all over to find those. All that information is here. So even though it's lengthy, this is a good place to find lots and lots of information, any of the information you might need as we go forward. So that's your syllabus. And you'll want to refer to that often when you have questions. And of course, you can always direct those questions to me in the discussion or in the Ask the Professor discussion forum, or emailing me or through the chat here. Right. So again, if you have any questions, post those or contact me through any of the other ways that are available. And I will see you all in the classroom on Wednesday.